Good afternoon. I'm hearing some feedback. Are you guys hearing any feedback? Right. Okay, so afternoon, everyone. So hi, I'm Jocelyn, your moderator for today's panel on the ideal elements of successful ads. Okay, so thank you for tuning in. So if you're here, right, you're probably seriously considering how to be effectively using online ads for your business, or you're looking at how to improve on your ad results. So before we begin, right, just use the chat function. Help me to better understand, or help us, the panel over here, to better understand which part of the ad journey you're at right now. Okay, so comment in the chat what are the platforms you are currently running ads, or if you have not started, then maybe you can just type not yet, because I'm sure sometime down the future you'll be on that path. Okay, yeah, so help us to better understand, and I think the experts here will, very much try to contextualize the answers better for your needs. Okay. So, very good afternoon, everyone. Just a quick intro before I introduce our panelists as well. I'm Jocelyn, and I'm a visibility strategist at Just Go Visible, a company that I also co-founded. And we help brands experts through coaching, training, and implementation to increase online presence and engagement centered on the video strategy. So, why am I here to moderate things about ads, right? Because along the way, actually, clients also start asking us to help them in social media. And when we talk about social media, ads are a part of it. The reality is the ads are a part of it, right? It's not just organic traffic with just the content, right? So today we have 4 experts with us in the area of digital marketing to help us to navigate through the world of online advertising. Okay, so firstly, I would like to introduce Sharon. Sharon is the founder of Digital Influence Lab, also known as DIL, with over 9 years of experience in digital marketing. So for such a young industry, 9 years is really a long time. Okay, so she's a veteran in the market. Okay, and they have helped hundreds of Singapore and Malaysian SMEs to build their digital marketing capabilities through consultancy, implementation, and training. And Sharon also founded Digital Marketing Summit Asia, the largest virtual summit network for digital marketers in Asia, with over 50,000 participants across the region. Right. And she was doing this already before COVID. So it's nothing to do with COVID and going online, right? She's already experienced in that. Okay. Next up, we have Henry. Henry is the Director of Strategy of Neo 360 Digital, a performance-focused digital agency based in Singapore, where they worked with various businesses to create the unique 360 digital marketing blueprint. Okay, and Henry has a very interesting motto about the 4 R's, but I'm not going to expose it now. I think you will have a chance to talk about it later. Okay, right. And Henry also has passion in training, so he does this through hackology.com, his training initiative to help SMEs, startups, entrepreneurs get started efficiently in digital marketing. And an interesting fact about Henry, he also plays the cello, right? Right. That is, I believe that's a very calming activity to de-stress. All right. Next, we have Eugene Macarius, also known as the SEO King. Eugene used to be the former digital director of Standard Chartered Bank Retail Banking, and he's currently an avid digital marketing strategist and also a certified SEO principal consultant and coach. Okay, and Eugene also manages 360 digital marketing campaigns, and he helps them to create digital footprint to attract, engage, and retain customers. And Eugene is also a mentor for Lithan Academy for their professional diploma in digital marketing implementation. All right, last but not least, we also have Jarek, who is a digital marketing manager with Exabytes for the past 10 years. And he's very well versed and has a lot of passion in Google Ads, Facebook Ads, SEO, and email marketing. Okay, and because of this, he's able to handle all Exabytes divisions and hundreds of clients' accounts and help them to reach their target audience better. All right, so for those of you who are still sitting on the fence about, hey, should I do ads? Is it difficult? Will I lose a lot of money? Right? Be it through social media, website display networks, or in search. So this is the session for you. Okay. So we'll be helping you to see what you can do to start simple, start on the right foot. And those of you already doing it, how to up your game. All right, so we'll begin. I've prepared a list of some questions, but if you do have your own questions along the way, do use the Q&A function in the webinar. All right, so yeah, for questions, right, avoid using the chat because it will get lost in the sea of messages over there. All right. Okay, cool. So let me first show the first question that we have. So I'm going to start off with a very broad question to each of the panelists. So in your experience, right, what's your favorite ad platform right now? And in your opinion, what are the top 3 elements of a successful social media ad for that platform? So who would like to go first? Eugene? Can unmute yourself, yes.
Hi everyone, my name is Eugene. Of course, if being asked this question, then I will be biased towards Google because my expertise is mainly in SEO, search engine optimization. Whatever the effort is in your digital marketing journey, you cannot ignore search engine optimization. But however, my favorite would be Google Ads for this simple reason. Google Ads has evolved over the years, and right now, Google Ads are able to you are able to run Google Ads not only on the keywords that people are searching for, but Google also give you this set of audience called the in-market audience. What better way in running a ad for a kitchen cabinet that Google actually tells you these are the people that are actually looking for kitchen cabinet, right? So that is what in-market audiences are, right? And also secondly, because Google Ads AI has so-called improved over the years, and now Google has this responsive search ads, which enable you to have various headline options, and Google will alternate your headline options in your Google Ads, and then you will know which Google ad will be better. This is AI, right? So today we are in the age of AI. So Google has also improved. Next thing to consider is actually YouTube ads. YouTube ads, there are two aspects of YouTube ads. One, YouTube ads is today you can run YouTube ads on your competitor channel. So like for example, recently I have a client that is in the kitchen cabinet business. So what I do is I can run so-called a skippable or non-skippable in-stream ads to renovation company YouTube channel that's exactly similar audiences to what my client is trying to target. And the other one, the other aspect of YouTube ads is search terms, as what they call video discovery ads. That means people key in certain keywords, you will show your so-called your YouTube video discovery ads. And basically, just very quickly touching on keywords, you need to know what is the buying keywords or what are the keywords with high competitive demand. So moving to the 3 elements of successful social media ad, just very quickly. Firstly, definitely you need to know your audience. A lot of people are running ads blind. I think this age group to this age group, but you think then who confirm, right? So the best way is to map this to an audience persona. For example, your niece. So if you can map your ads to a particular person, then you know what kind of liking it is, and the chances of your ads getting a lot of mileage is there. Number 2, you need to grab attention. You need to say what you mean and mean what you say. And in this way, in social media, you must understand that people go to social media not to buy. So is there a way that you can stop them from scrolling their feed, right? By using loud colors. Like I love exabytes colors, right? This is like really fantastic, right? Are you able to tell a certain story? Does video engage better? You know, what is your copywriting strategy, right? And and that's what I mean by say what you mean, right? And in Google Ads, you need to make sure that your copy and your landing page is relevant so that when people search for a particular keywords, this will result in a higher click-through rate and better conversion. Next, the most important thing that people don't realize is this concept which I coined as the follow me marketing. People are everywhere in the social media. So if they're searching in Google, do you retarget them with Facebook ads? The ads cannot be seen existing by itself, right? So this is my my little thoughts. I hand them over to the next panelist.
Okay, thank you, Eugene. I think Eugene has very nicely put the bridge for us from Google. How do we move into synergy with like other social media platforms? So who would like to share? Maybe Sharon?
Hey everyone. Okay, so is it a question? Okay, I know it's really, really weird with the background because my teeth is like here. So I'm gonna switch it off for a minute.
Yeah, it's up to you. I think your wall is very nice and clean also.
That's great to hear.
Yeah.
I thought
Yeah, off it.
Yeah, if not the blue teeth will look weirder.
Yeah, please off it.
as well anyway. Yeah, so on the favorite ad platform, I guess I have a love-hate relationship right now with Facebook ads, and it's served me very, very excellent, for the last couple of years. But I guess the question is now. I still like it a lot for its for the in-depth kind of data that we still have for the next couple of weeks, maybe for the next couple of months. So yeah, that's my short answer. I like it, but with the iOS 14 updates coming up, we are seeing a bit of a situation where they're limiting the data that we can be exposed to. In terms of top three elements, yeah, I guess I largely agree with Eugene. It's important to know who you are talking to, and even more so in the coming days. Design, the way to capture attention is very important. I think one other thing that may or may not be relevant to the ads is the offer. To me as a marketer, that really is really, really essential. You got the right offer, and it's linked, right? If you know who you're talking to and what problems they face, then you can craft an offer that makes a lot of sense. And that to me, it's half the battle. Yeah, so that's my answer.
Okay, thank you, Sharon, for sharing. Yeah, I think everything again begins from understanding your target audience, your client. Yeah. And I see actually a lot of I also train, and I see that a lot of businesses struggle with that because it becomes like hard for them to imagine in a way. Yeah. So maybe we'll talk a little bit about tools later as well, on certain things that could possibly get them started. Yeah. All right. How about Henry and then Jarek?
Hi, everyone. Yeah, I think it's the same. I mean, for me, because I run traffic with clients for multiple platforms, for me to really put down a favorite is kind of difficult, to be honest, because the reality is that because we are a performance agency, we thrive on testing, and we will test until the thing work, in that sense, and I think a lot of times we believe that in terms of data, so having a very good sense of data, a very good sense of what works, comes from really interpreting the data properly. But if you really force me, twist me to choose a channel, I will go with Facebook at this moment, only because of its cost effectiveness. Though Google Ads will work very well for quite most industries, in fact, yeah. So they will definitely work well for all. But for people who are starting out, sometimes the cost of it could be a little bit daunting. Because if let's say you are a tuition agent or you're a tuition center, you try to market on certain popular keywords, you'll be looking for trouble because people can simply out market you because they have they just have a better budget accumulated over time. Literally they can just really outmaster you. But in terms of social, I think you can really create identity. I think this identity is something that you can really stand out on its own, because in Google you're limited by what you can say. If let's say you're going for search ads, it's only those few lines, yeah, not so much you can do, yeah. But Facebook, you can really do a lot more, and you can amplify that. I think what Jocelyn mentioned just now, I like to always share with my clients that you need to really share the right message to the right person at the right place and at the right time. So I call it the 4 R's. So I use the 4 R for practically everything I do. So if I can get the 4 R's right, and if, as what Sharon said, right, if the offer is great, right, sometimes the offer sells itself. as marketers, right? Actually, we tend to think, oh wow, we got to try so hard, but in reality, right? If we actually spend, or if the business owner actually spend time to craft the offer to meet the target of market well, right? Literally, the offer can sell itself without so much, I would say, overselling. Yeah, maybe you just need to catch a little bit of attention. Yeah, but it's not like, no, not the days of past, like overselling, like saying all the fanciful things. I think it's a bit past because people are now very skeptical, right? So we generally tend to be we tend to not trust anything anyway, right? Trust later, this go and find out more first. Yeah. All right. Yeah, I think that's what I have. Thank
Okay,
you.
thank you, Henry. Yeah, I think since offer is being mentioned twice, let's see if we have a bit of time for that later. Okay, how about Jarek?
Oh, yeah. Hi. So, so I really have the same answer with Eugene, Henry, and Sharon's there. Um, okay, if really like want to choose one out of the ads platform, if let's say based on our agency expenses wise, we are still seeing that Facebook and IG still leading on the expenses wise, just based on our agencies lah. Yeah, and because it's really hard to define one of the best ad platform right now because it's such competitive right now, and every ads platform basically playing different role, reaching different audience, and even the same targeting the same audience, they probably might be play different role as well in the funnels as well, right? So that's the things where in order to actually reach the goal, right? Today is not about only one platform anymore. You need to use multi-platform basically. So it's really hard for us to choose it. Then let's say top three elements for successful social media. Okay, so I think the top three element is the goal. The first thing is the goal because some people trying to put in too much message into the one single contents. Yeah. Then second thing is about the funnels. Yeah, because the funnels basically define the strategies that what you want to go into. And lastly, it's about the content. It comes back to the content. Your content is really engaging. I really deliver the message. Is it able to communicate with your audience, right? Yeah. So this is the three key elements that we believe that is important for social media.
Okay. Thank you, Jarek, for sharing. I think after hearing everyone's answer, I sort of succinct it down into the three areas. I think definitely one, firstly, the target audience, because the rest cannot follow without knowing or understanding certain level of your target audience's behavior. That's one. Secondly, I think I agree very much is also with what Henry and Sharon brought up about the offer, because if once the ad gets attention, and you need to convert, that's where the offer really matters, right? If your offer is not attractive, you only have an ad that has lots of attention, views, comments, but doesn't sell, right? And yes, thirdly, of course, the content needs to get attention and engage people. Yeah. So, and generally, I would say for now, the most popular platform is still Facebook and Google. Likely they've been in the game longer, of course, right? Being a space provider for ads as well. So possibly we could also talk about some of the other more blue ocean ad platforms that's also going on right now. So I think because almost everyone here on the panel is a strategist, right? So you're able to really plan like what you guys have said, a 360, a more holistic strategy for businesses, for the clients who engage you. So of course, for clients who normally engage a strategist, of course, it's a sizable business. But I think over here, we have a number of people who are like probably self-employed, starting your own business. And but the beautiful thing about online ads right now is anyone can run an ad. You no longer need to be a huge company to run a TV ad or a radio ad. So then I would say this question that I thought of for them is like for a business who's looking to start online ads, right? What content type would you advise them to start with? Because I think content creation is something that a lot of small businesses struggle with because it takes time, effort, and certain level of skill. Maybe Henry or Sharon? What do you think would be the lowest hanging fruit with some level of productive result that they could start uh, doing for ad content?
I'll just go first. Offer myself for the slaughter. So well, anyway, well, I think for us is that the content type is a tricky one. Yeah, the reason why I say it is this, all right, because in Facebook, let's talk about Facebook. People always say we should do video for conversion ads. Let's say you want to get leads, but uh, but realistically speaking, I will go back to what I said once again. That is really about testing. Like for example, for one of the clients that I'm managing, the the image ads were always outperforming the video ads. And I know there's a certain reason for it. And even when I was talking to a Facebook rep itself, it also confirms the view that not necessarily that, it's just because everybody say, oh, must do video on Facebook, right? Sometimes people think that, oh, in order to get an outcome, we must do video, do live streaming also. Actually, sometimes simple is better. If you know what to do, clear is better. I think this also depends on the kind of brand you have. If let's say you are quite an established brand, you don't really need to talk so much about who you are, But if let's say you're new, let's say you are a new business, then you might want to really first interest people in you first, yeah. And you really have to probably be a little intriguing, I would say, be kind of and look at how you can help people remember you better. I think in today's age, because we are so distracted, right? This attention, right, is really currency that is super valuable. I think all of you will agree. We are always doing like 101 things every day, right? I think even as myself, from the morning until I finish, it's like non-stop different things. I hardly remember anything. So having the ability to, as well as say, remarket is more important. And content type, I would go for this. Okay, go and test a few. I would say always do a few and test. Right? You can use the same angle, do a few content types, see which one works better. And that is typically my approach. Because you see, at the end of the day, we are trying to get to from ignorance to so-called wisdom. So wisdom will only come for me through testing and understanding what's happening. After a while, you become an expert. So what? Or even for myself, I don't even consider myself an expert. I'm an expert tester, not expert. Because after a while, if I test enough, I'll become an expert. Same as almost any platform, whether you are doing like online shopping, whether you are doing Lazada, it's really about testing, right? You really have to test and see what works. And when you hit it, that would be your unique so-called content that you want to maybe focus on. And I think that's about it. Yeah, for now. All right.
Okay. So for you, when you start, right, normally when you start, let's say you want to start with two content types to test, what would you choose?
Two content types. I will, if I can do a video, I will do a video and I'll do a static image. Yeah, let's say on Facebook. But the reality is that sometimes video I think if you are a solopreneur or you're a small business, is you don't mind doing it. It's probably quite fast, but for some brands, right, video is a long process.
Yeah.
And it's not really feasible to get them to do video, because to us, sometimes people think, oh, video means I can shoot in my handphone. But for some brands, right, video means a production. So in the expediency of results, okay, if let's say they are looking for leads or certain results, right, I have to go with what comes faster. Yeah, all right. And then when buy time, buy time so that you can do the more difficult stuff, shooting a video, creating something later. All right.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, thank you, Henry, for sharing this. Yeah, it's strategic thinking actually, right? Because when you all have all the tools and understanding at your fingertips, it's about what's the best strategy to get results for yourself in the shortest time. I think Henry brought up a good point. I would say maybe video ads could be potentially working better for like coaches, trainers, like you are the product. Because you control your content much easier. There's not so much red tape and bureaucracy. Whereas it's a very different game altogether for a big brand who has so many brand guidelines to look out for. Yeah. So yeah. just in a way, just pick two types of the lowest hanging fruit from yourself and experiment. Because in digital marketing, we do have this concept called A/B testing. Yeah, which I've also gone through. Like, I work with a partner who runs ads, so I do the content, and we will always just, in a way, experiment. Yeah. Any tips from Eugene?
Now, here's the problem, right? That most companies face, right? Let's say, for example, this a company that is doing furniture manufacturing. So most companies will employ company ABC to do their Facebook ads, company DEF to do their Google ads, and FGH to do SEO. And the problem is this method works if the owner is savvy about digital. How they don't know, right? And they don't realize that an integrated social media strategy or integrated marketing strategy, including offline marketing, is very key. And today we're talking about omni-channel presence and omni-channel marketing, right? That's one step further. In today's day and age, consumer consume information very fast. So you have to follow them. That's why I mean by follow me marketing, right? And you have to look at the leads flow from the potential clients and where they hang out and learn how to get them, right? So the question is social media all about content only, right? Before we even decide on the content type, we need to explore this concept called content pillars, right? Content pillars are things like that. Company related information, for example, builds credibility. Fun content, quiz content builds interest and engagement, right? Festive content you got to do, else you die. Because if you don't wish people, festive, right? Everybody is wishing it. So it's more or less like you have to do it, right? Like Happy New Year, Merry Christmas kind of thing. And product related content can be a video, can be an image, like what Henry said, testing, right? Those content builds trust. So A/B testing is very important. And you have to understand that before you even decide on the content type, you have to understand the flow of the customer, right? People got to know you, then they got to start to like you, and then they trust you, and then they buy from you, and then eventually they become strong advocates for your brand. So if you ask me, start with what you got for content. There is a progression, right? At each level, there is also a psychological barrier to get past, right? And for example, I give you an example. So you can start with image ad, and then if you feel a little bit more confident, there are free tools that you can do image slideshow video, right? And then you can throw your music, and then you become a video. Then after that, when you feel a little bit more confident, you try to produce a professional video, try to learn through YouTube. It is possible. I am self-taught. I edit my videos self-taught as well. So, and also the next thing is that, for example, you may decide to record a talking head video. Like for example, talking head video is like if you are training trainers, coaches, you do a talking head video like this, educating people, right? It's pre-recorded, so no stress. After that, after you do like your 20th talking head video, you decide, oh, I want to go live. So if you need help in go live, please approach Joycelyn, right? So as what I say, there is a process, friends. There is really a process. You need to understand the content pillars before you actually decide. But the simplest of all is image, and then you proceed to image slideshow, and then when you are a bit more confident, you do a professional video, and especially if you have more budget, then you can outsource that thing. So this, yeah, my thoughts. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Thank you, Eugene, for sharing. Yes, I think image slideshow is in a way I would call, yeah, it's a shortcut lah, to me for using a video like what Henry brought up. Sometimes not everyone can afford to or have the time to really wait for the full-blown production, and not a must that you really need a super pro production to run ads, right? We see a lot of big successful, and they are just using. I'm just going to use Peng Joon as an example. He has videos that he used in ads that is obviously just taken from his phone or he's driving in the car, right? Yeah, so it doesn't necessarily mean you need to have a super expensive production to use in your ad content. Now, my next question is, I think it is quite linked to some of the Q&A questions I'm seeing now. So I think I'm just going to merge that because my original question actually just needs a pretty short answer. All right, so I wanted to talk about what's a reasonable ad budget to start with. But we also have a question here from Clarence. He's representing Penny Print, so free ad time for you. Okay. He wants to ask, if we want to run video ads for business, how can we control the ads budget? How to achieve maximum best result that we can get from the specific ads budget? So maybe some of you can share your experience with us. Maybe Sharon. I'm assuming he's talking about Facebook lah. I think Facebook is still technically the most popular ad platform right now for online ads.
Yeah, I'm trying to understand the question as well.
Yeah, you can see right the question at your side.
How can we control the ads budget? I
Mm.
mean, is that a technical question, or like are we talking about cost per acquisition? Or I mean, if you want to control the budget, you pretty much just set
The budget.
Better have a budget first.
Yeah, you must have a budget in mind for sure.
Okay, let me bring a different perspective to this. I assume you are talking about Facebook ads. So Facebook ads, there's a so-called ad optimization option for video, right? And there are two ad optimization options for you. Number one is impression. Number two is video views, right? As in impression, number one is impression. That means they're trying to show to as many people as possible. You get charged per impression, whether or not people watch your video. Second option is this thing called True Play. True Play, they will bring to people watch 15 seconds, then you get charged. If you're asking about this as to so-called control the ad budget, then if I'm going to spend the money anyway, I would rather spend it on someone that watched 15 seconds of my video, and then I can create a lookalike audience and I can target an offer to this lookalike audience. This is what currently we are doing with one of our clients. So I hope this perspective kind of like answer the question, because I do agree with Sharon that the question is a bit is kind of hard to
Can't tell they are
comprehend.
asking. Okay,
Yeah.
so Clarence just clarified in the chat. He say Facebook ads, and he wished to know more about ad settings. So I think it's a bit technical. I don't know if we are really able to cover that. Maybe share some advice with Clarence. Jared or Sharon? Yeah.
Okay. So if let's say talk about branding by using video, right? For Facebook, right? Of course, reach might be not the perfect choices because reach is you just reach as much people as possible, but depends on how they really remember about your brand is also another question. So the frequency need to be there also. So if you're running reach campaigns, you need to make sure the frequency will need to be high, because we are estimating that one people will be at least need to see your ads at least 5 to 7 times in order that they memorize about your ads, right? Yeah. So second thing is Facebook, they have the branding for branding objective, where is the ads live call, where I actually calculate how many people actually remember about your ads. And it would be good if, let's say, your Facebook to have account manager. They actually, but of course they do have a minimum expenses lah. Then they can help you to manage your campaigns. And sometimes you will see that there's a video in the middle. Then they will ask you that, do you remember what's the last few videos ads that you see before? Do you remember this kind of brands? So they have this kind of survey for you guys as well, right? But of course they have minimum expenses lah. Yeah.
What's the minimum, huh? In case somebody here really aspires to, I also want to one day have my Facebook account manager.
Actually, every time we ask also a different question, there are different budget also.
Oh, okay.
So it really depends on your account manager want to fight for you or not, actually.
Is it a 4 figures kind of sum, or is it like even reaching 5 figure kind of sum?
4
4
figure.
figure. Okay, for 4 figure is
Yeah.
yeah, I think quite reasonable lah, to be honest.
Yep.
Yeah, because you're getting direct from Facebook itself, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Right. So all right.
Coming back to the budget question, right, Joycelyn?
Yes. What do you think is a good number to start with?
I would think like $20 to $50 a day on Google, and another $20 to $50 a day on Facebook.
Okay,
Here's
so
the
that's like
problem.
100 a day,
Yes, the problem
3,000 a
is
month.
not how much budget you set. The problem is people always stop the ads prematurely. I think that is the problem. They don't realize that ads, right, whether it's Google or Facebook, need they don't magically optimize. The moment you run the ads, they don't magically optimize. Ads optimize based on data points. So if your ads is conversion, if your ads is video views, after a few video views, then Facebook get clever. They know, they bring you exactly people that will watch 15 seconds, then your ads get better. But the problem is you always people always premature. When they don't see results within 2 days, they end the ads campaign. So you can start with a very low budget, even $10 a day, but make sure you at least run it for a week to get certain data, or like what Facebook say, like 50 conversion points or something like that, right? Because if
Okay.
you don't have enough conversion points, then you're not sure really, is it your ads problem, or is it because you stop prematurely? Most people stop prematurely anyway.
Yeah, it's such a coincidence that Eugene brought this up, which brings me to another. I'm dropping some of the questions I prepared. I think I want to better serve the community here since they're asking. It brings Thomas is asking, my ads drop in effectiveness over time. Is it due to ad fatigue? How do I work around this? He's talking about Facebook ads. I think Sharon wanted to share since just now. So maybe Sharon can take this.
All good to
Facebook expert.
sit back and relax like everyone. Okay, so what the question is, ad fatigue, right? I assume it means they're getting less conversions. Like when you say ad drop, is it due to ad fatigue? It could be multiple reasons. I mean, ad fatigue is definitely real, right? People are seeing the same ads in a way, but what makes up ad fatigue, right? It's okay. The same people are seeing it again. It could be that your market is just that size, and you're showing your ads to the same people due to targeting reasons. It could be a multiple. I'm just listing out, right, so that you can also see that, okay, there's more than just ad fatigue. The same people seeing the same ads, and that could be due to market size. Perhaps you're just targeting very limited group of people. It could be that your messaging just didn't appeal the first time. It's probably not going to appeal the second time or third time. So yeah, it could absolutely be ad fatigue. And the follow-up question is, how do you work around this? I think this could take a slightly deeper discussion, really looking into numbers and just making sense of context, right? Like understanding your market. Have you really reached out to that group of people? You can look into things like frequency. You can look into things like reach, impressions to get a better understanding. And then, from there you can make some conclusion on whether they are seeing ad over and over again. And then obviously, if it's truly due to ad fatigue, that means that people are seeing the same message, they're sick of it, then think of new angles, all right? There are just many angles when you're creative that you can attack the same problem, or even finding new problems to try to sell what you're trying to promote. So yeah.
Okay. So because I also some partners to create the videos for YouTube ads. So YouTube is another platform we haven't really talked about. But at the YouTube side, right, sometimes depending on the type of business, we do have a change rate of 3 to 6 months. We will want to refresh content. So for like Facebook side, right, because most of us here are still on Facebook. For the Facebook side, is it a similar ballpark period that you guys also look at in your practices with your clients on refreshing content? Like, what's the usual period of time you guys will think, hey, it's time to sort of refresh, and or you planning ahead?
Let me just do a quick answer on that. I don't have a fixed answer. I don't have a fixed time. I look at data again. Right? So based on the few things I talked about just now, you'd be surprised. Right? Some promotions can be evergreen. We literally run the same things for years, and people still want the same thing. Right? If you look at what Salesforce is doing, honestly, they have been running the same ad for the past 5 years, because the product is the same thing. Their proposition, their selling point is the same thing. It can run the same thing over and over again. We work with seasonal, not seasonal, but things like weddings and interior design. It's essentially they're offering to a new group of people who are looking for their service the same products honestly, you know, we kind of get new people over and over again. There's no fixed time on when we should refresh it. Some products are are so seasonal, right? Maybe Chinese New Year or whatever. People are just sick of it in no time. So I always go back to looking into data and to decide. Yeah.
Yeah, I think Sharon brought up an interesting point. The change of the element change might not be the content, the target audience change. The same ad, because you finish renovating a house already. Okay, next batch of people, we're going to advertise. They still have the same needs. The same message still works for these people, but it's a new group of people already. So actually the creative can remain. Yeah, that's so true. So I guess it's a matter of also, knowing your type of product lah, and what it's like in the consumer market. And of course, I guess B2C and B2B works differently as well. High value, low value items works differently as well. Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Sharon, for sharing that. Seeing quite a number of like pretty technical questions. I'll try and
Yeah,
pick those
I saw very technical questions.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's one that asks, what, since my ad is always on learning limited stage due to limited budget, should I stop the ad? Wow, this is really, very technical.
Yeah.
The true answer is that most of the time you're in Singapore, let's be honest, you will likely run into learning limited stage. Yeah. So my advice is just keep running if it's giving you the results. You see, that's a simple answer, right? If it's giving you results at the right cost and you feel that $20 per lead or something is okay, acceptable, and you are converting a much better offer, then go ahead. Yeah, because it's true. We are in tiny Singapore, so we don't. It's very rare for you to exit the learning stage well, unless you have enough budget and your marketing big enough, your budget is big enough. So definitely continue if it's meeting your needs, basically in terms of your outcomes that you're looking for. Yeah, and I think I do have something to share about optimizing your videos for Facebook. I think it's actually wiser to look at in all of Facebook, right? You must understand Facebook is a competitive landscape. So you are fighting against the auction. Yeah, the auction is all the other advertisers marketing on their same audience. So in order to win it, right, you really have to look at metrics. I just want to second Sharon. It's really about looking at if your click-through rate for image ads is really great, then that would be good because Facebook reward you with lower traffic. It's in their interest. You must understand the platform has an interest. They have a hidden agenda. The agenda is to reward people or brands who can engage their audience better and then keep them engaged and entertained. And they do it by their metrics, through their machine learning. So even for ads, right? So if let's say your video is doing so well, the 180% view rate is super, then go for it. Use that as a way to already be competitive. So something that I do is, let's say you have budget and you have a good fan base in your Facebook page. Then just post the videos up, see which one Facebook likes. Then you use that as the video creative to really run an ad. So let the data inform you what Facebook likes first, and then you run it. If you really want to be efficient, yeah, my job is all about efficiency. So it's true. I cannot suggest audience, but unfortunately, sometimes the machine does tell me certain things contrary to what I think. So I try not to be too smart. I try to be a newbie all the time when I'm running ads. That's my personal take.
I second
Okay.
Henry and Sharon also. That data is very important. Sometimes the ad fatigue is not due to us, but it's due to how aggressive the other competitors are also getting the same audience as what Henry said, right? And the only way to know that whether is it something wrong with us or is it otherwise is to have data on hand, like what rightfully point out, because if you don't have data, then you are blind, right?
So basically, sometimes when we start running ads, we know that this ad might not bring us a lot of results, but for a start, it brings us the very valuable things to move on, which is the data, the feedback that we derive out of the data. Yeah, so I would say, like, normally I work with some of my ad partners. We take about 3 months, right, to really fine tune a more effective ad strategy. Yeah, so that's the reality lah. So if you're like starting out on your own, right now, if you do get immediate results like in the first month, that's really a bonus, to be honest. So you are doing something right, but use that as a learning point as well. Yes, Sharon.
Can I share a bit about the learning limited?
Yes, please.
Right. So it's really fun topic of mine. It's really basically statistics, right? So a lot of people talk about data and they don't have a basic statistics understanding. So I laugh because this is essentially what people have been doing. You know, it's just that Facebook didn't tell you that you were at the learning phase, and people were just making conclusions out of let's say 10 conversions, and they make a conclusion out of it. So Facebook is just basically just helping you to say like, hey, you know, dude, you have not hit that basic minimum, which we are usually looking at 30, 50 conversions before making a good conclusion out of it. So yeah, basically they're just helping you alert you that, hey, you should not be making a full conclusion. You should be doing a bit more. You should be gathering a bit more data. The ads pretty much run, it's not a penalty like they say. The ads run the same way is. It's just that they're just telling you, hey, you are still not out of the phase where you've collected enough data. Just FYI, yeah.
Okay, so you need to swim out of the pond now. Because you are still in the pond, you need to swim out of the pond. Okay. Yeah, okay. So Clarence says thank you. I see a few interesting one that I'm gonna try and put them together. This one is okay. So Jason has something not exactly related to ads, but I would still say it is very near. Is using social media influencer useful for ads? I guess this question is quite legit because in a way you can say you want to test, but usually you need to pay the influencer first to test. So it could be an expensive test. So for those of you who have maybe worked with influencer campaigns for your clients, maybe you can share your experience.
Let me share something to really test out whether this influencer is an influencer. Okay, very simple. Because, for example, ladies and gentlemen, social media followers and likes can be bots. So one quick way to see is like, for example, this influencer has 10,000 Facebook likes. What you do is you go and see the post, each post that they post, right? How many likes each post have? If each post have only 10 likes, likely that this influencer, the followers are all bots. Yeah. So that's a quick tip on how to find the red flag lah.
Okay, so assuming let's say it's a legit influencer, then do you think in your experience, are they useful for ads?
Influencer marketing doesn't really kind of influence ads. Like for example, if you are e-commerce, then what you can do is, let's say you work with 5 influencers. Each influencer, you give them a discount code that is unique. Then in the back end of your e-commerce shop, you can actually realize which influencer actually help to bring you more sales, right? So normally is used along that line, unless you're engaging the influencer to do a FB live for you, and that's a different story, because that will normally cost an arm and a leg.
I would say maybe influencer marketing falls on the other kind of, well, it's not our typical understanding of social media ads where it's very direct. It's a more like endorsement kind of. People used to do with celebrities, just that you no longer need to only engage very expensive celebrities. There are influencers out who are more affordable for various purposes. So I myself, I've done giveaway campaigns with for clients, right? I mean, we realized that of course it works pretty well for awareness, but we didn't really do like a really ad campaign with influencers. So I really have no sight of them. I'm not sure if the rest of you do have experience in that area. Yeah, Sharon, do you have any wisdom to share about this?
My answer is always depends whether it works or not, right? Because it goes back to the same thing. What exactly is your target market, right? If you choose someone who's influential and aspirational figure for them, it could really work, right? I mean, try using a 18-year-old bikini model to target a 60-year-old ama, right? I mean, maybe I don't know, but it really depends on what you're selling. We have, I think the most successful ones are like food bloggers. So it's kind of like what Jerry has talked about as well, like the funnel. to really talk about the success, right? So a lot of times people engage influencers, and we have seen the aftermath of it, where they simply hire influencers and they don't get any results for it. But if you do pair it with ads strategically to create an interesting offer, interesting hook, together, to me, influencer marketing is a bit like pouring fuel. It's the additional traffic, it's the additional awareness that you get. And if you can combine that with that conversion, right? So usually what's really lacking in PR and influencer marketing that we see is the conversion, right? So people are seeing it, they're like, yay, okay, that sounds good, but there's no like offer to actually close the sale or get them in as a lead. So I think that's usually the part ads can help to serve as a reminder. Through multiple means, either through targeting, retargeting, etc., to then offer them something that can close the gap, close the hook. So we have used that quite successfully for food, to actually get people to go down to the place to purchase and to try it. I think that's kind of where we have done using influencer.
Yeah, I would say, of course, influencer on the on the obvious side, it really works better for certain area of products. I think very much B2C for now. Very, very much B2C. Perishables, consumables, yeah, those would likely work. And of course, there are so many other nuances to look at when you want to engage an influencer, but maybe Exabyte can have another session about this.
But I think
Okay.
I think it's
Yeah.
also about like what Sharon rightfully points out. It's about the built up. So like for example, one of my client they actually engage an influencer to they are actually a massage therapeutic massage client. So they actually engage influencer to do a massage by the sea kind of concept. So what we do is we actually use ads to tell them that on this date we are going live on our Facebook page. So when you use ads, right, people engage on the ads, people see the influencer, people know who she is, and people engage on the ads. Your page population grew, and then when you go live, everybody know. So this is an example of creating a built up a hype towards an influencer event. Because the influencer event by itself, it cannot exist by itself. Yeah, the influencer will show up to his followers, but if you use ads to build up to an event, then it will give you a better mileage, right?
Yeah, that is true. Because sometimes people might not realize even your influencers, they don't get 100% of their followers seeing their feed anyway. Yeah, the algorithm is just going to block all of that. Yeah. So yeah, correct. I think with strategic use of everything, yeah, that's the best to really max out, like if you're already spending money on engaging the influencer. So just remember, when you engage an influencer, the amount that you're paying the influencer, that is not the only budget that you need. Please budget for other strategic ways to really max out the campaign and the activity, because like what Eugene did, post live can then still use the generated content to still run ads, edit out certain things and all that. So you have to really maximize out so far maybe this sum of money that you're using to engage the influencer. Right. I have this interesting question from Sharu, because I think, yeah, we do have some B2B attendees here. Which platform best for software development companies or B2B? Because I think just now Sharon did bring up Salesforce as an example. So yeah, I think B2B is a slightly different game, right? On Facebook, it's very B2C. Yeah, so maybe we could also use the opportunity for this to talk about any other blue ocean platform that you think is up and coming that people could probably start exploring for those who are more experienced already running ads on Google and Facebook. Because in another question, someone also talked about like Clubhouse, TikTok as ad platforms. Yeah, so maybe you could share your opinion on like newer platforms, more blue ocean platforms, and also in relation to B2B, LinkedIn, another platform. Yeah.
Just a quick bite, right? If you're talking about TikTok ads and all this, yes, it's a blue ocean, but also you also realize that because it's a fairly new platform, you don't have the mess, right? So that is something to consider. I'm not dismissing that TikTok is not a good platform, but I'm just saying that this is possibly one way to consider, because right now it's only the iPhone users are there, the Android users are not there yet, right?
You mean Clubhouse, right? For that.
Sorry, Clubhouse. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Okay, so your earlier comment is actually for TikTok or for Clubhouse?
Clubhouse. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah, I think Clubhouse right now there's no obvious. I don't see it lah. Maybe you all know. There's no obvious commercialization factor for it. Not I don't see it yet. Of course, except for branding lah. That it's a non-salesy kind of approach. But there's no like ad platform for it yet. That's what I know. Yeah. How about the rest of you in terms of could maybe LinkedIn, YouTube, TikTok, which already have ad platforms that people can technically run ads? How do you see of it? And if you have experience in B2B, maybe that you could also share that perspective with us.
So yeah, I'm happy to share this because about most of our clients, 80% are tech clients, tech, fintech, B2B, a lot of them. So we actually use Facebook quite well, quite successfully. I mean, we always joke like, come on, like we still think it is not 2012, right? It's not just the young people are on it, right? Prime ministers are on it. You look around in the coffee shop, your uncle, auntie are on Facebook, honestly. I'm not saying they are the CEOs who make the decisions, but my point is that the age range is actually a lot more mature than we used to think. And in fact, it's the young ones who actually don't want to get on Facebook these days. So we have successfully reached out to a lot of business owners. I think it ultimately does depend because if you're on a very enterprise level, you do feel like you want to be reached out on a different channel. It's just about, are you targeting corporate? Are you targeting business owners? Are you targeting what kind of businesses are you targeting? Government? That's like a totally different kind of a ball game, right? So all goes back again to who are you targeting? Where are they hanging out on? Where would they like to be approached? It's not like they're not on Facebook, but some may not want to necessarily be approached on Facebook. LinkedIn does provide a very, very nice professional platform. It's the same like how a lot of business owners actually aren't on LinkedIn as much. They have a profile there, but they may not be there that actively. So where are they hanging out at? If they're hanging out at Facebook, you stand a higher chance to actually reach out to them there. If your corporate guys are on LinkedIn, you will then have a higher chance of reaching out to them. It goes back to the same. It can be another platform in 10 years' time, right? The mentality is going to be the same. Go where people are, go where your target audience is hanging out at. Then, yeah, we have so far managed to reach out to quite a good number of people on B2B through Facebook for B2B clients.
Yeah, that's true. I think even at the B2B level, you also need to know, because businesses have so many different sizes. Micro SME, nano SME, then medium size SME, then big SME who is at the border of trying to remain an SME so that they enjoy the government perks, right? And then you have the non-SMEs. So again, it depends. Your product is for who, for which level. If it's those that reaching small businesses, self-employed, then yeah, probably Facebook is still very, very relevant. Yeah, like what Sharon said, it's huge. You're aiming government agencies, huge enterprise level. Then probably LinkedIn, you have a better chance. Yeah. So Sharu, we don't know enough about your product, but I think this is all food for thought for you.
I would like to bring a different dimension to this because marketing should be holistic. If you are talking about corporate and all that, definitely you cannot shy away from search engine optimization. Definitely you cannot shy away from your website. Is it loading correctly? Is it mobile friendly? Is it is it engaging the copy? And imagine this, right? Imagine Google walking into a department store and your website is this department store. Are your products well organized? And that my friends, is search engine optimization in a nutshell, right? Are you able to give Google what it wants? If you're able to give Google what it wants, Google will give you what you want, which is money, right? And what better way to do is to work on search engine optimization as a long-term strategy and to supplement your ads. So how you do is you're working on SEO, certain keywords you're not ranking, then you run Google ads to make sure that you have the mileage, or you appear on Google. Then once certain keywords you are strong and you appear on page one and all that, then you can decide to shift your Google ad strategy to other basket of keywords. So this is my dimension on search engine optimization. Definitely is a must to supplement whatever ad strategy that we want. And if you're corporate, yeah, definitely LinkedIn ads, definitely having a LinkedIn page. A lot of corporate don't even have a LinkedIn page. And like what Sharon said, even the boss is not active on LinkedIn. Even you have a LinkedIn page, so what? The boss is not even active on LinkedIn, and the boss doesn't even know if people comments on there, and whether they engage on the LinkedIn page. Then having a LinkedIn page, the purpose of having LinkedIn page defeats the purpose because the boss is not there as well, right? Yeah.
Yeah, correct. I think, I think Eugene very right. Yeah. So thank you for also reminding us about SEO. I think because today's conversation is very much focused on ads, but we haven't really talked about the full spectrum of. It's like in e-commerce, you shop, right? Because the shop front look very nice, and then when the package comes to you, the box is goyak, the something inside is missing and all that. So it's the fulfillment part, right? It's the same for, I think, online business. When you guys talk about the offer, and after that, if you go, does the website look like it's impressive, it's reliable? Everything has to piece together. It's a huge thing, and of course, being present everywhere helps, right? Having a Facebook page, having a LinkedIn page, IG account, blah blah blah. Yeah, all this helps in search as well. I think the term I saw that day was what, omnipresence. People used to talk about omni-channel, offline, online. Now it's about omnipresence, being everywhere online also, right? So it's about being seen, being found as well. So all this builds up to credibility, like, of course, when you start running ads. Because someone you on a Facebook ad, they might be skeptical, like what Henry said, people don't, it's not a given now that people trust you from the beginning. Then they go and Google you. And then you have a very funny looking website. So things don't gel. Right. So everything still needs to gel. So it's like 3:00. I just want to wrap up the session with a last question. Like, basically it's like best practices tips from our panelists today. Any good resources, like be it apps, websites, or software that you can recommend to people who want to actually start running ads for their business? So we are assuming firstly they are pretty small biz, maybe not using an agency, and they want to get started. So any good resources that you can direct them to?
I'll go first.
Okay.
Yeah. The resources that I am suggesting is not directly related to ads and ads optimization per se. I would say firstly Canva. Canva is quite idiot proof. Even a non-graphic designer, you use Canva, you become a graphic designer, really, right? It has templates and all that. You just change the image, right? The next thing is to try to learn some video editing, like what Henry pointed out, because sometimes we need to test image and video. So learn some video editing. So iMovie is a good way to start for those that have handphone. I use Filmora, right? And the most important thing resource is when I have video, where do I find the music, the royalty-free music? Go to YouTube and type audio library. That is your music source, is royalty free, right? So, and the thing I want to add is newbie is to learn how to optimize ads without using third party like Ad Espresso and things like that, because it might be over the top for you, right? Like Ad Espresso and all that. It is good to always know how you manually optimize ads, especially Google ads, right? Yeah. So this is my tips, and we go around the table.
Wow, you already have 4. Okay. Thank you. I'll be typing and putting it in the chat as well. Okay.
Maybe there's so many tools around. I mean, I'd rather just send a tool to list to market list to everyone. But I would say that based on my experience of over running ads and all this, over quite a fair bit of time, back in the days where I actually have to make my own money running ads, right, using affiliate marketing. I think the most important thing for me is what I can offer is like maybe three things that people might want to take into account. First thing is always question your assumptions, like what Sharon said. Don't assume that people in certain platforms are of that certain age group or not relevant. I think there are many instances where this has been proven wrong. You just have to wait for surprises. In fact, if everyone thinks the same way, then the more that you should go and try it. My take is always, if people think that display and that banners are not working so well, then you should really go there. because I always try to look for undiscovered or no, what common sense is. So we have to be a bit uncommon. If you want to be a good marketer, even for your business, you have to be a bit uncommon. If you're so common, you're always looking at the usual tips from people. You're going to probably go into a lot of competition.
Yeah.
Go into trouble. Second is all decent ad platforms are decent ones can target. So what does that mean? That means that it's a fair game, you know. So I rather you spend time to understand your buyer persona and build the perfect or most perfect offer for them. Spend time on I thought 80-20. So I always tell people, you know, spend time first, because your offer and what you offer and your product, you can do something about it quite, you know, you can probably do something about it. But sometimes you can't do outside, it's just amplification, right? So you amplify, it's just like, you know, if you have a bad eat crabs, you know, there's some problem, right? At the time they bad crabs, right? So if you amplify something like that, I can tell you, you're going to all the negative influence will come and go and break down your brand. So just take care of your offer, your brand, yeah, before you start marketing. That's it.
Yes, offer with a big O. We need another session about that too.
Yeah, that one is a big
That is
topic. Too big
that
a
is so
topic.
big and deep.
Yeah, big and deep. Because I mean, you know, I'm just trying to make everyone's advertising efforts easier. Because if we try so hard to optimize, to over optimize, but sometimes, right, you know, we stop looking more introspectively on what we actually have or are. You know, I think that's the challenge, yeah, for some brands. That's it.
Okay, thank you, Henry, for all the wisdom. I'm typing them down, so the full list will come up. So you guys need to stay until the end. Okay, so maybe Sharon and Jarek, who wants to go first?
Yeah, probably me.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. So I like to spy competitors basically. So for SEO Google Ads, why basically we are heavily using on SEM Rush and also SimilarWeb, because we really want to look into how's your competitor doing so well, where's the traffic coming from, what keywords they are bringing traffics. Yep. Then for Facebook IG wise, we are very depending on the Facebook ads library, which is also free tools. So we basically looking at what people are actually doing advertising, how many banners they are A/B testing right now for the same objective. So we actually can get a lot idea from there. So if let's say we out of idea, we probably need to look into other country competitors as well, rather than only in Singapore to get the new ideas. So this is what we're actually doing.
Yeah, correct. I think, I mean, end of the day, it's about being resourceful and strategic.
Yeah.
I mean, it's 2 words, but it's a lot. But it's 2 words, literally. Thank you.
Here's a tip. Here's a very quick tip to know whether your competitor is doing Facebook remarketing. Very simple. Just visit your competitor's website and you see whether the ads show on your Facebook, right? This is a very quick and no-brainer way
You
to
Google
spy on
also
your
can.
competitor.
Yeah,
right?
Google also
Yeah.
can. Actually, just talk about it. Sometimes you just need to verbally talk about it and your phone starts serving you ads. Okay. Let's not delve into that. All right. Last but not least, from Sharon.
Yeah, so to answer the question on what are the good websites for small solo creators, right? Honestly, Facebook Blueprint offers a good one for Facebook. For Google, they are coming with quite a few new training tools. It's not within Google, so you have to look for it. I think every country may have like Google Classroom. I think they keep like changing the names of the training. Largely, I would say just Google, honestly. Like, Google helps you to find the most relevant content. If you really, really want to, go search 2021, right, where it's a slightly more updated version of it. You're going to find really, really good more information for a solo small creator. Of course, once you start upgrading, that's when you start paying like $199 a month for like SEM, Rush, Ahrefs, a couple of other tracking tools. But probably not something you really require until you get a good hang of it. So that would be my answer. Google it.
Yep. Oh, Sharon covered. Actually, I wanted to add on bonus. Yeah, Facebook Blueprint is one that a lot of people actually don't know about. It's free training of all the by right and correct steps you should and effective steps you should be taking to running ads on Facebook. That's one. The Google one, they have 2. I think one is called Skillshop, official Google. One is called Skillshop. One is called Grow with Google. So that's where you can like directly also learn from Google. And I think if you reach certain stage, you can pay for certification. Like you complete certain modules and all that, you can pay for, to get certified by Google. Yeah, so I'm just going to put all this. So there's lots of actually free resources to start with in the first place, because you don't want to be spending your ad money for nothing. Although I think at the start, sometimes you dabble a little bit, dip your toes in a little bit to get the hang of things. Because I think end of the day, as much theory you can do, you still need to hands-on lah.
Pay some school fees, basically.
Yeah, correct.
Either in the course
It's like
or
mahjong.
through your. But sometimes it's true. Don't just spend your school fees on training. Yeah. Sometimes spend on testing. You actually learn more. You become wiser, faster.
Correct. Yeah, it's just like mahjong lah. Right. You don't read a book about mahjong, right? You straight away just sit there and then lose money to the other three people. Then you learn. Yeah. So you do need to practice, I would say. So those of you who are still not getting started, yeah, you can practice. Well, we have like exactly 10 resources just nice on the list. And I also see Sammy has shared our LinkedIn links over there. So if anybody wants to get in touch, because I think all of us here, we are level of strategic consultancy work or implementation work or even training work. Yeah, so depending on who better meets your needs and all that, you can just come and contact us. Okay.
If you want to look good before you appear on camera live like Jocelyn, please look for her.
Thanks, Eugene. If you want to be found, look for Eugene. Okay. If you want to reach people effectively, if you want to know how to draw up a very good offer, please speak to Henry and Sharon. I'm sure they all, yeah. And Exabytes, I think also helps you with more holistic planning as well. Yeah. So if your company is of a sizable, yeah, if your company has a certain size already, please invest in getting an expert with you. Yeah. Don't expect the poor polygrad in your office to be able to do all this. Okay, that's an issue. Sometimes I see SMEs having mental obstacles as well. Okay, a young person who use Facebook, Instagram doesn't mean they know how to manage it from the business side of things. Yes, so there's a lot of experts here that you can be in touch with. So do get in touch through LinkedIn. Okay, right. So yeah, so thank you very much, all the panelists. I don't know if there's anything else you would like to share to end off, but if not, we can also end off the session for today because it's a slightly overrun. And thank you everyone for being here after lunch today with us. Yeah, and I think Exabytes does this monthly, right? So you guys can look out for like next month's session.
Exabytes. Grow your business online.